Good day to the world, and welcome everyone to Berlin. I'm here, as you can probably see, at the Brandenburger Tor, which is one of the most recognizable symbols of Berlin, and indeed one of the most recognizable symbols of Germany. And today, actually, let me just take a quick look around at what's going on here, because it's kind of a madhouse here. There's all kinds of stuff going on. So the Falun Gong is actually has like a stand here. They're actually advertising and handing out flyers and things. Over there's some kind of political demonstration for Venezuela, for whatever reason. You can see there are police cars everywhere. That one's running its blue lights for some reason. I have no idea what's going on there. And over here, we have none other than people who are showing what's basically the flag of the Second German Reich. I don't know what those people might mean to intend with those flags. Most people who are seen with those flags are so-called Reichsbürger, which basically means they deny the legitimacy of the current BRD, Bundesrepublik Deutschland, and are usually associated with a more, let's say, right-wing ideology. But there are also plenty of people here with, rainbow flags and things like that, more symbols of left-wing political ideology. So this is kind of a place for people to air their political concerns and ideologies. It's sort of a free-for-all here, so it's a little crazy today. I'm actually trying to find a place where it's a little quieter so I can talk without being surrounded by noise. Here we have people on segways. Quite a bunch of them, actually. And what is going on here? Let me see. It's another kind of... Oh, is this for... This might be... Actually, what is this for? I have no idea. The guy there who's speaking is speaking about the wearing of masks, which has been a big theme here for most of this year. I mean, the whole coronavirus thing started at the beginning of this year. Wow, that police wagon there appears to be from Nordrhein-Westfalen. Oh wow, these guys are from Nordrhein-Westfalen. That's on the other side of Germany. That's interesting. Yeah, they're wearing the patches, the shoulder patches on these police officers are actually from Nordrhein-Westfalen. They must have called in reinforcements because they were concerned that maybe they didn't have enough police in Berlin to maintain order during the day of German unity. Yeah, so today is October 3rd, which is a very special day in Germany now because it's the day that Germans celebrate German unity. It's the Tag der Deutschen Einheit, or the Day of German Unity, celebrating the reunification of the former West Germany and East Germany, which came to be after, the political divisions between East and West that followed World War II. And today is a particularly special Day of German Unity because today is the 30-year anniversary of it. The year is 2020, and this is the 30th annual celebration of the Day of German Unity. So it's kind of a big deal. especially since it's becoming clear now, particularly in the last few years, and especially this year actually, that Germany is not very united. A couple of weeks ago, one of the big newspapers here in Germany ran the somewhat provocative headline, 30 years of disunity, referring to the rather common idea, I would say, that even today, 30 years after German so-called reunification, Germany's not really united. And perhaps sensitive to this idea, I saw in the S-Bahn on the way here they had sort of an open question on the media sort of spheres that they have there, the media services where they often do advertising and stuff like that. They had the open question, how united is Germany today, 30 years after reunification? And they had commentary from various media figures, like various politicians and journalists and people like that. And there is I think, an answer which kind of mirrors my own opinion. The answer given by Sarah Wagenknecht, who is, I believe, the leader of Die Linke, which is a political party. The name literally just means the left. So she's the leader of the left political party, which many people see as actually, funnily enough, many people see Die Linke as sort of the spiritual successor to the SED, the political party which was basically the Communist Party of the former East Germany. It's kind of an opinion. I don't say that it's true or false, but I mean, many people sort of see it that way. But Sarah Wagenknecht said, Germany today is in no way united, not at all united, but the divisions have changed. It's not so much about East versus West now. It's about, social and cultural differences more than just purely, the political division between Soviet-style communism and American-style capitalism. And I think that's true. I mean, Germany is not united in any meaningful way. There are a lot of things that really divide Germans today. But it's not really very useful, I think, to think of it in terms of East and West. The old divisions between the Western Federal Republic of Germany and the Eastern German Democratic Republic, those differences, they haven't entirely disappeared, but they've definitely changed. I would say they've definitely changed in nature. Their nature is definitely different from how they were, when those countries actually existed. And I think one big indicator of that is the fact that today the trend of migration has actually reversed within Germany. So when the Berlin Wall first came down about 30 years ago, actually I think it was 31 years ago technically, but that's why I said about 30 years ago, there was a huge flux, there was a huge inflow of German migrants from the former DDR, the former East Germany, to what had been the former West Germany. Primarily for economic reasons, because, in West Germany there was more money, there were more jobs, I guess, more opportunities for ambitious people who wanted to, have a job. Which is kind of funny because actually, officially in East Germany and in other Soviet-style, socialist, communist countries, there was actually no unemployment. Like, officially, there was no unemployment in those countries. Everybody had to work. So there's a certain irony in the fact that people were fleeing, in air quotes, those countries to go to a capitalist West where there were where unemployment actually existed, where there was the possibility of unemployment, and yet they were going there to pursue economic opportunities. It's kind of one of the many ironies, one of the many sort of self-contradictions, if you will, of politics. But what is going on here? Oh, are these the? I guess this is the Gelbwesten. You don't hear a lot about them anymore. So,
aber nicht das ewige der Lager und die Demonstration, die permanent geführt werden von Querdenken, weil die Demonstrationen von Querdenken erwecken das einen Eindruck einer Schnitzeljagd mit der Polizei, mittlerweile verkommen, links, rechts, Antifa, Blödsinn, Quatsch mit Soße, was soll denn das? Wie in einem Kindergarten, Itsche Bitsche ist mein Baustein geklaut, ich will den wieder haben, ja, oder mit der Polizei, Katz-und-Maus-Spielchen, es ist, mittlerweile ist es alles absurd. Ja, auch diese Art von Bespaßungsmethodik in Techno-Trends mit Spaß-LKWs und Live-Dancing und ich weiß nicht was noch.
Oh, hey. Here we have what appears to be an actual journalist. I think the microphone she's holding has the Deutsche Welle logo on it. So this is an actual journalist making an actual, doing actual reporting on site. I don't know exactly what those people were on about. Some of you may remember, this is kind of old news now. It started, I believe, in France, the whole Yellow Vests movement, or Gelbwesten as it's called in German, started as kind of a general sort of political protest in France, but it spread here, but it doesn't really have any concrete ideology. It's more like the Yellow Vests became more sort of a catch-all movement for everybody who was unhappy, everybody who was dissatisfied with the status quo, which is pretty much everyone. I mean, pretty much everybody has something that they're unhappy about. So the Yellow Vests just sort of became a catch-all protest movement, and it attracted a lot of leftist people, but also a lot of right-wing people, and so it was kind of funny. You had this sort of group that was protesting, you know, kind of for similar things, even though they came from opposite sides of the political spectrum. And actually, it's appropriate that I mention that now, because this is the Reichstag building, of course, and just a few weeks ago, there was a massive protest here, right here in front of the building, and also going down that street there, that street with the, I always forget the name of the street. I think it's named after some date, the street with the Golden Angel, the Siegessäule at the end of it. And there was a huge protest here with about 40,000 people, which was a little unexpected. They expected maybe about 20,000 people, and it was about double that. So that was a pretty big protest. But the protest was marked by an event in which a relatively small group of people rushed the Reichstag. Now, I don't know what they were hoping to accomplish with this. I really don't know. I think it's like one of the stupidest things you could do because, first of all, it was on a Saturday, so the building was, it's not like there were any people inside, or if there were, they were just tourists. I don't think there were many politicians working on Saturday. But there was like a small group of people who broke through those security barriers and ran up to the front doors of the building. And then they were stopped by local police because there were also local cops guarding the front doors of the building. I really have no idea what these people thought they were hoping to achieve. I really have no idea what they thought they could accomplish with that. But it became kind of, that was sort of a focus of the news media because it was such a dramatic and audacious thing to do. But aside from that, I think more generally, what was funny about the protests was just, in a kind of ironic way, how they united different people as well, because the protests were ostensibly about the whole coronavirus situation and how people are not happy about having to wear masks, which is kind of funny. It's a little bit stupid in my opinion, because really you only have to wear masks inside buildings, like you have to wear masks inside stores and in public transit, like in buses and trains. But you might notice the people here on the street are not wearing masks. You're not required to wear a mask on the street here in Germany, at least in most parts of Germany. I think I might have heard maybe in Bavaria it's different, but at least in most parts of Germany you don't have to. That is in stark contrast to, for example, Paris, where I believe right now in Paris, every single person on the street has to wear a mask or they'll be fined for not wearing a mask. I believe that recently became the case in Belgium as well, or at least in northern Belgium. I'm not sure about Wallonia, the southern part of Belgium, but I mean, imagine that, having to wear a mask wherever you go, anytime you go outside. Here in Germany, people are lucky in the sense that they don't have to wear a mask outside. And yet they're protesting so strongly against mask wearing rules because they don't like having to wear a mask when they go shopping, or when they take a train or a bus, or that children sometimes have to wear masks in schools. They're so upset about that, even though they actually have it a lot easier here than in other countries. But what was kind of funny about the protest was, I'm going to pause the video just for a second, just so that this video segment ends, because my camera will start to break up the video after something like 20 minutes. I'm just going to pause here for a second. Okay, here we go. That just so I'm on another video file now, just in case something happens to the file. I don't want to feel it all as one big long file, just in case something happens for whatever reason. So what was I saying? Yeah, I was talking about the rush on the Reichstag that happened a few weeks ago during that protest. That aside, though, what was kind of funny was commentary from Jens Spahn. Now, Jens Spahn is Germany's health minister. Normally the health minister is not a huge public figure, because normally health is not a giant public issue. But in this year, 2020, in the year of coronavirus, or what some people are fearing may be the first year of a future of coronavirus, who knows. But anyway, in 2020, Jens Spahn has become sort of a very prominent public figure, because he is the Minister of Health, and it's his responsibility to decide how and when people need to wear masks, among other things relating to coronavirus. Just pausing to listen to the bells from that, is that a church? I don't even know if that's a church or something. I mean, it's some kind of building with bells ringing. And Jens Spahn is mostly known, obviously, for his statements about coronavirus, because that's his job. He's the health minister, so it's mostly his job to concern himself with matters of public health. But in a sort of a relatively rare aside from that subject, when he was commenting on the protest at the Reichstag a few weeks ago, he said, which I thought was kind of funny, it was interesting at this protest to see, you saw people with the Reichsflagge. What we actually saw, I actually pointed them out at the beginning of this video, I think, a few people with, the flag of the Second German Reich, so-called Reichsbürger. You saw those people there protesting next to, again, people with the rainbow flag, this whole symbol of diversity and, minority rights and gay rights and things like that. You saw these same people demonstrating together at the same protest, and Spahn said, I find it rather concerning that these two groups have found something that they can agree on. And I thought that statement was kind of funny, because I think it's a little overblown. Why do you find it concerning that people can agree on something? I understand you don't want to support neo-Nazis, that's fine, and okay, but why does it worry you that people who may belong to that group may have found common ground with people from another group? Isn't that exactly what we want? Don't we want to foster common ground between people and not try to foment division between people? And I don't know, the fact that he found that concerning, the fact that he said he's worried about that idea, I think sort of communicates to me that people don't really want unity. And that kind of speaks to, the general sort of political mood here. not only in Germany, but also certainly visible in Germany, that, people don't really want to unite themselves. People sort of still have this need to divide themselves into an us and a them, and it's all about us, and we'll do whatever we can to attack them. Which is kind of ironic considering, the focus on unity, the focus on unity among, among different people, different nations, different cultures, whatever. There's such a focus on unity, but there's still sort of this mentality that, no, it's unity for us, but not for them. We can be unified, but those people, no, we don't want to be unified with those people. And it's a bit... One sort of criticism that I've always leveled at the idea of unity is that it's really been very focused on very sort of superficial surface things. So today, when people talk about unity, when people talk about, when people show the rainbow flag and talk about diversity and bringing together different people, it's usually based on very superficial things like people's skin color, or maybe what, their sexuality, like what kind of people they like to have sex with, which is fine. I mean, that's okay, but that's a very superficial sort of notion of diversity. That's a very superficial notion of what defines people, or what makes them different from each other. I mean, I have a skin color, I have a certain, gender or whatever. I have a certain type of person that I would prefer to have sex with, but that's not what defines me. That's not who I am. That's not what I consider, the most important part of my identity. But there's been a big focus on that because, that's what you can see. You can clearly see a person's skin color, unless they're all covered up. I mean, if somebody's wearing a burqa or something like that, then maybe it's harder. But most people, you can see their skin color pretty readily. And so that's something that people commonly focus on. But for me, that's always been kind of a red herring, because who cares? Who cares about your skin color? Who cares about what gender you want to have sex with? That's like, to me, that's like the most minor, maybe not the most minor, but a very minor concern compared to things that really define people, that really kind of make up their identity and what's, what they value, what's important to them, what values and ideas they have. So, coming back to the idea of unity, I think it's apparent more than ever today that not only Germany, but the world at large is very divided. Is there really any country in the world? I mean, I sometimes ask myself this question: is there any country in the world where you could just go there and all people have the same ideas? All people basically say, unitedly, so to speak, yeah, we have these opinions, we have these political and social and cultural opinions, and everybody's united on that. I really don't think so. So, I mean, it's not just Germany, it's something true for the world at large. But there is a certain irony. I think the irony of it is especially apparent in Germany because of the emphasis here on unity, especially today. That's why I'm here today. And the reason I'm making this video today is because, because people are talking about unity, and yet it's more apparent than ever that humanity is not divided. And I say humanity consciously because I realize this is not a German problem. This is a global problem of global humanity. If you look at what's happening in the United States this year, yet another massive outbreak of Black Lives Matter protests, the incredible and unprecedented political furor over the current US president, and the fact that in like a month or two, let's see, today's October 3rd. I have to admit I'm ignorant enough that I actually don't know what day the election is on, because I really don't care. I know I guess it's sometime in November, which puts it at next month already. Wow, it's actually closer than I thought. But anyway, so you can see in the US the same sort of thing. The country is extremely divided. And again, there's the irony there. It's supposed to be the United States of America. But it's about as united as, I don't know, something that's not very united. I hear somebody screaming through a megaphone over there, or a microphone. Those bells are really annoying. Good grief, man. I mean, I don't mind church bells ringing for like a few seconds when they tell you what time it is, but if it just keeps going on like this and I'm trying to talk and the bells just keep ringing and ringing, good grief, man. That is getting really annoying because I can't even hear what's going on over there. I hear somebody screaming, like not screaming, but like very loudly speaking in a very agitated way. And I'm trying to figure out what they're saying. I'm trying to hear what they're talking about, but I really just can't make it out because the bells are louder than their voice from here. Although it sounds like the bells are quieting down. Okay, I spoke too soon. The bells were still going. Sheesh, man. I actually wanted to go down the street of, that famous street that goes to the Siegessäule, but I think I must have gotten lost, which is hard to do because that street is very prominent, so I don't know how I could have gotten lost here, but somehow I did. I mean, I don't think it's that street over there. That's a different street, isn't it? You know what? I'd really like to get away from these bells. These bells are incredibly annoying, especially when you're trying to speak into a camera as I am. I feel like I'm shouting. I mean, I guess I am shouting, and I really shouldn't have to be shouting in an environment like this because it's not that. It wouldn't be that loud here if it weren't for the bells. Instead of walking towards the bells, let me start walking away from them. So yeah. I'm here in Berlin. I first moved to Berlin about 8.5 years ago. Wow, it's hard to believe it was that long ago now. About 8.5 years ago I moved here. Kind of my first time in Germany. And I liked it. And I still like it. I still like Berlin. Some people don't like Berlin, but I actually very much like Berlin, especially compared to something like Hamburg. You know, it's funny because a lot of people say that Hamburg is so much nicer than Berlin, but I don't really find it that way. Hamburg doesn't have big open spaces like this as much. Berlin has a lot more of these, really big, wide open, sprawling squares, and it feels a lot more open, a lot more, a lot less constrained. Hamburg is more of a dense city with a lot of, small little streets, and I don't like that kind of environment. I much prefer Berlin. But I know that many people will strongly disagree with me on that point. But anyway, so yeah, this year I moved back here. My journey sort of brought me back here to Berlin, and I've been, living here. Not right in Berlin, but actually just outside of the city. I've been living close to the city for this year. Wow, something really is going on over there because this street has been the police have blocked off the street, and I see more blue lights flashing up the street there. Something is really going on there. Is that a Reichsbürger march, or is that? It's hard to tell. I really can't tell, but I imagine it's probably something right-wing because those are the marches that are most subject to violence, because most of the politically motivated violence that happens is from leftists against right-wing people, because leftists are scared that there's going to be another rise of nationalism, which I don't know how true that is. It's hard to say. I mean, I generally see more, in my opinion, I see much more left-motivated violence and sentiment in pretty much everywhere in Germany. I mean, I'm not denying there are right-wing people. Absolutely, there are, but I think there's a lot more violence instigated by leftists than rightists. But that's just what I perceive. It might also be different for me because I live in Berlin. It might be different in smaller, less populated parts of Germany. Anyway, so yeah, I've been here in Germany now for a few years. By now I speak German fairly well, and I mean, I have a job and stuff like that. I'm pretty well integrated into Germany, and I'm grateful for that. I mean, I don't want to deny how much work it took to learn the language, because German is, it's not really an easy language to learn. It's not super difficult. It's not as difficult as, let's say, Russian, for example, or Chinese, or something like that, or Japanese, or Arabic. But German's considerably more difficult than English. So I mean, it took a lot of work to get fairly fluent at the language, and finding jobs now is not easy. And I don't want to sound ungrateful. I am very grateful for the life that I have. I'm grateful that I can be here, that I have a job. That's not something that I want to I don't want to devalue it. That's not something I want to devalue by saying, well, who cares? I mean, it's not like, no, well, whatever, who cares? I do care. It is actually very meaningful to me. And I do like Germany. I mean, I wouldn't have moved here if I didn't like Germany. There is the Fernsehturm again at Alexanderplatz, another one of the most recognizable symbols of Germany. Probably the most recognizable symbols of Berlin are the Reichstag, the Brandenburger Tor, and the Fernsehturm. And I've got all of them in one video. Oh yeah, and of course the wall. But the wall is mostly gone. There's that one section of the wall which is still, there are a few parts of the wall still remaining, but yeah, they're a little farther away from here. I'm not going to film those now. So yeah, I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful for what I have. I am grateful for the life that I have. I have a lot to be thankful for. And I do not want to deny that, or neglect that, or devalue that. But it troubles me, the increasing sort of political polarization that's happening here. Oh yeah, I forgot to finish that thought. I was saying when the Berlin Wall first came down, there was this huge influx of people going from the east to the west because of political opportunities there. What I forgot to say was the second half of that thought, which in the past few years that trend has reversed. There are now more people moving from what was the former West Germany to what was the former East Germany. And again, it's mostly for economic reasons, because the West is very, it's more densely populated. And what does that mean? That means that property prices are higher. So if you want to buy a house, it will cost a lot more in the West as compared to the East, where real estate is, well, it's getting more expensive all the time. And why is it getting more expensive? Because more people are moving in. But, it's still cheaper. You can definitely find places in the East where you can get property for much cheaper than you could find it in the West. So, humanity is sort of like it's like an ocean. It comes and goes in waves. 30 years ago, there was a big rush to go into the cities, get away from, rural areas, because agricultural jobs were disappearing, and people wanted to move into big cities because there were more opportunities there. That's still kind of the case today. I mean, that is definitely happening today. But there's a definite counter movement of people who are saying, we don't want to live in big cities. We don't want to live in overpopulated cities where it's full of noise and trash and crime and everything's so expensive because there are so many people crammed so close together. We want to live in, more sparsely populated areas where you can get real estate for a more reasonable price. There are less people, there's less crowding, less traffic, less pollution, less noise. And that's kind of what's driving the migration to the east. That's why more people are going from the west to the east now. And that'll probably continue for a few years until the trend reverses again because of whatever reason human beings have for migrating back and forth as they do. And what about me? I don't know. I mean, I don't know what I'll do. I mean, I'm like I said, I like being in Berlin. I like Berlin personally, but it's just very polarized. I think kind of a worldwide trend that we've seen in the past few years is that the two sort of wings, the left wing and the right wing of politics, have become more extreme. Both of them are becoming more extreme. A lot of that is happening due to the internet, which is kind of ironic also because the internet was supposed to achieve the opposite. The internet was supposed to allow people from different walks of life to communicate with each other and sort of share their ideas, kind of come to a better understanding of each other. But what's happening instead is the internet is becoming full of echo chambers because people who are in one sort of ideological group or whatever, they stick together, they stay with each other, and they don't communicate with other groups, they shun other groups. So the internet is actually doing the opposite of fostering communication between groups. It's actually creating more extremism and more sort of isolationism between ideological groups, which is, I think, visible in society. I mean, you can see when you talk to people, you can see that people are more, again, people on both sides, both the left and the right, people are more extreme. They're more intent on defending their own ideology, and they're not really interested in discussion or negotiation or trying to come to a better understanding of their opponents. They're only interested in annihilating those opponents. And so again, I kind of ask myself, where is that not the case? Where is there in the world still where people just kind of, where there's, a more unified sort of culture and people are not torn apart by internal divisions? I don't know. I don't think that there is a place like that in anywhere in certainly not in the Western world, certainly not in, in Europe or the Americas. Maybe in some parts of Africa and Asia, it's still kind of like that, but in the West, I think that's sort of a thing of the past, if it ever existed in the first place. I mean, who knows? Maybe it's all just sort of one of these idealized fantasies of a past that never existed in the first place. Who knows? I don't know. I didn't live in the past, or well, I did live in the recent past, but I didn't live hundreds of years ago, so I can't really say what it was like back then. I didn't even live 50 years ago. I mean, I'm 38, so I didn't really. I mean, I never experienced East Germany. I was never, not even as a tourist. I was never in the DDR even as a tourist, nor in the Soviet Union or other places like that. Yugoslavia, all that's gone now. And I've been in the places that they've been replaced with. I've been in, the places that used to be those places, but they're all different now. Yeah, today it's all about entertainment. That's really the focus. The idea today is people just wanna fill their ears with music and fill their eyes with Netflix, and that's really all people want to do. They don't want to hear or see anything else, and if anybody interferes with that, they get very angry. And they start protesting and saying, well, it's my right to just watch Netflix and listen to pop music all day. So yeah. Anyway, I have been speaking for quite a while, so I should probably shut up, and I don't really want to make like a huge, long. I'm not making a documentary. This is not a documentary about East versus West. How unified is Germany today? It's not like that. It's just me walking around, just walking around with a camera, pointing the camera at whatever looks interesting, and babbling my thoughts into the camera microphone. There's something going on over here, but I can't really. I think it's just a music festival. I don't think it's any kind of political celebration or anything. It's just Bilderatlas Mnemosyne, something like that. No idea. Bilder means pictures, so picture atlas something. I have no idea. Anyway. Oh, this is the Haus der Kulturen der Welt, the House of World Cultures. So, I guess it's some kind of world culture thing. Cool. That's one of the things I like about Berlin. It has a lot more of these sort of cultural institutions and establishments than Hamburg. I mean, people like Hamburg because it has a river. And yeah, I mean, the river Elbe in Hamburg is nice. It is a nice river. But I mean, Berlin has a river as well. And here it is right here. This is the Spree. It's called the River Spree. So Berlin has a nice river as well. And it has way more cultural museums and galleries and institutions and things like that than Hamburg. So again, I personally prefer being here to being in Hamburg. I lived in Hamburg for 2 years, and I really just couldn't wait to get out because it's so boring there. There's nothing there. There's nothing but the river, and the river's nice. But after you've seen it, I mean, I don't want to go walking by the river every single day. That's not it's not enough for me. I want something else in my city. Well, there's a nice boat coming along the river there. But yeah, I guess I'll go ahead and stop here. Oh hey, there's the Charité, one of the most important and famous hospitals in Europe. But yeah, just wanted to say happy day of disunity to all you Germans. Well, I guess I'm probably not going to upload this video until, I mean, it's already kind of late afternoon, so I'm gonna go home, and by the time I upload this video, it'll probably already be evening, so the day will probably already be almost over. But despite that, oh, this boat is the Spreekrone, the Spree crown. Krone means crown, and Spree is the name of the river. So yeah, I mean, I'm not going to upload this video until I get home tonight, so it'll be a little bit late by then, but trotzdem wünsche ich euch einen schönen Tag der Einheit. Despite that, I still wish you all a good day of unity if you're German. And if you're not German, well, I wish you a nice day anyway, even though it won't be daytime by the time I get back, but still, have a nice day. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I will sign off now and say goodbye. Just as a little footnote to that, so I'm just walking back to the Hauptbahnhof, the main train station, and on the way I just happened to spot this bit of graffiti. Germans will probably immediately understand what is intended with this, but if you interpreted it that way, it's kind of ambiguous because you could interpret it the other way. Consider this. The people in brown don't like brown people. Kind of puts it in a bit of a different light, doesn't it? Kind of makes you wonder exactly what brown is meant here. I mean, I assume I know what brown is meant, but you could interpret it the other way as well. So yeah, okay, I think I'm really done here now. Here's another shot of the Fernsehturm. I am done. Mut.